for experiments, these are the kind of things that could be leaving money on the table. And remember, that's going to be every single month. So the nice thing about when you Okay, hi everyone. I'm Becky with ClickFluency and welcome to June's webinar. I am excited about getting together your Q3 plan. And this is really helpful because there's always a lot of talk around Q4, but Q3, you want to keep the momentum up. You want to also start getting prepared for Q4. So I'm going to share about that in today's webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my slides. Like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. So welcome, and let's talk about your Amazon action plan for third quarter, right? Like I said, fourth quarter is always discussed heavily, but right now is the time, and kind of a little bit on the later end, but it's still the time to be thinking about what you're going to be doing for the next quarter on Amazon specifically. Let's talk about mistakes to avoid in third quarter. The huge one is leaving money on the table. And I'll kind of explain a little bit more what that means, because that's kind of a broad statement, but that could mean that you, for instance, you have your listings, but they're not linked properly to your brand name and your brand source page, even though you have it. So when people go to a listing, they click on your brand name, but then they get sent, they see ads, they see some of your products, they don't see all of your products, and it's all mixed together instead of like this beautiful brand source page where they can start adding things to their cart. They can read about your brand. That's one way, for instance, that you could be leaving money on the table if you don't have things properly linked on your product listings to your brand name, as if you have brand registry. So make sure all the available features on your listings are utilized. Like I said, if you have brand registry, are you using A+ on all of your listings? If you're using A+ and you've had it there for a while, have you tested out if you're eligible for experiments? These are the kind of things that could be leaving money on the table. And remember, that's going to be every single month. So the nice thing about when you optimize a listing, and I've spoken about this months before when I discussed, optimizing your listing, and this is just an ongoing thing, but the nice thing about when your listing is optimized to convert better, it's going to have a residual impact on your sales. So it's not one of those things that you do it once and then it's kind of done, but it's something that you're going to continue to see a return on your investment, if you will. So once you optimize that listing, and if it goes from a 10 to a 15% conversion rate, you've added 5% more sales, and you're residually seeing that every month it's improving, maybe even going up higher, maybe slightly, sometimes lower, but it's better than that baseline used to be. You have been adding money every month that has been giving you a return. So it's definitely worth it. If you have things like that, make sure you're not leaving it on the table. And this is especially going to become true in Q4 when you're going to just have more traffic in general on Amazon. If you're not running advertising, that's something to also avoid during third quarter. This can be daunting because running advertising can seem complicated, and it can be very, very complicated. You can get really in depth. You can create a lot of different campaigns, or just a lot of campaigns that are very in depth with each of them. I know for campaigns that we run for our clients, we've got hundreds, thousands of keywords within all the separate campaigns going on, and constantly pausing and testing new ones and things like that. But start somewhere. If you're not running advertising, think through what is kind of a good baseline budget. Now, be very, very careful, because I'm going to share with you the third point I have on here is you don't also want to follow Amazon's recommendations on bids, because typically what they're going to do, because Amazon does make money from their advertising, and they rightfully can, what happens is their recommendations for bids usually will kind of just be high. So if they say, bid $1.50, you may not actually shouldn't bid that much, and you may actually be causing the cost per click for other people in general to go up, because you're just like blindly following all the things. You really have to, there's more to making a bid on a campaign than just automatically doing whatever they say, because keeping in mind that they obviously are profiting from ads, which, like I said, that is totally fine, then they should, but they're going to do what's most advantageous for them. And it's not going to necessarily be advantageous for you to make your advertising costs go up. We've had some clients that have had extremely high, advertising cost of sale, the high A costs. And one of the first things we do is to make sure that we're cutting off things that are just not leading to sales, excuse me, and things that are just not, they're way too high bids for what they need to be doing. We like to get more niche focused in on the keywords. So like I said, that'll increase the cost per click. And not only for you, but if other people are doing that too, that's going to just be happening all over the board. So we are seeing rising costs in Amazon advertising. And I think a piece of that is that people are just taking those recommendations right away from Amazon that they share, instead of really thinking through their bid strategy. And then they're causing everything to kind of go up. More brands are now running advertising than ever before on Amazon. And I think that's another reason that, advertising costs on Amazon have gone up over the last, especially 2 years. In 2020, a lot of brands pivoted just to putting more money on advertising on Amazon. And that, like I said, that cost did start to go up, and it has been going up the last 2 years. Something else to avoid in third quarter is not looking at all at the second quarter. So if you don't review and analyze what happened second quarter for us, what were some metrics that we're looking at that, what were our conversion rates and other metrics I've talked about in other webinars, like what are those things that are happening that happened in second quarter, and then what are going to be your new ones? So that kind of flies into the not making a plan. So you need to see what happened so that you can see where you want to improve and by how much you want to improve, because you have to set a goal. You have to set something specifically that you want to try to hit. It's okay if you don't hit it. It is very, very hard with some metrics on Amazon to be able to hit them, but at least you have something you're striving towards. Like I specifically want to work on, for instance, maybe you specifically want to look at the metric of my impressions from my Amazon advertising. And I want to increase that by 25% this quarter overall. So that's something that you can measure to see second quarter, we have this many impressions over the 3 months. This quarter, I want to hit 25% above that, which the minimum would be X number of impressions, and that's where I want us to head. So every month you can kind of know, are you on track to hit that, to get more impressions, which usually if you're trying to get more impressions, you're trying to get that brand visibility. You're trying to get people aware of your brand and, understand, like seeing your name, seeing your products, things like that. And like I said, not making a plan. So I want to take a minute for you to just kind of think through what so far have you thought about and learned, anything you've noticed as well when we were talking about those different things. So I'll just give you about 30 seconds to think through and jot anything down if you have a piece of paper in front of you.